you know, our trip is coordinated through, here is Dean Jan Colijn, Dean of General Studies.
This trip is going to change your life in a way that will make you a better person. Have a wonderful trip, and as they say on Uzbekistan Airlines, may you have as many arrivals as departures. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Daniel?
Wonderful experience. Everyone says it's going to be life-changing. I hope for the better, but a remarkable experience, a really once-in-a-lifetime. So welcome aboard. Delighted to be with all of you.
Dan Ackerman, you're 1, Lacey 2, and we're privileged to have Murray come.
I'm going it for your sake, not for my sake at all, to join you, because I will show you, especially when we are in Auschwitz and in the area in Birkenau, I will reflect upon my experiences. So where we'll be sharing, I'm sure shedding some tears, but make.
It's more than just reading a history textbook. It's actually getting into the history and into the culture, and words can't even describe what that's going to be like. Oh, yeah.
And we are plentiful with guides, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, my mom's like, well, you should get the guide. I said, Mom, why don't we take the guide? I'm like, why don't I shop? Let's go look at the prices. And you tell me why you're not shopping. This is ridiculous. She's like, well, you always did when you lived at home. I said,
And here you have, this is the symbol. Always stay here to tell the world. We were the first one who struck the first blow to the Nazi pride, who never forgave us for it. Here you have one of the greatest intellectual Yiddish writers, Yehuda Leib Peretz, the first one.
And when they were all taken to the ghetto, he discovered them in the ghetto.
A doctor of infants. He was the director of an orphanage. Make me proud, that's all.
This is going to be a
Make me proud, that's all.
This is going to be it's going to be a really.
So what you've got is cowboys and Indians without the cowboys, if you see what I mean. That gives you a sense of how long there has been a Jewish presence here in Krakow. Not just in the big cities of Warsaw, etc., but if you look here, you've got a number of small towns and villages with the numbers of Jews here. It's King K.
I said younger too.
By the Board of Trustees of the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey.
You, if you try to escape. And when the orphanage was liquidated, he was offered to be saved. But he went with his children, carrying a baby with him, and also that the children shall not be afraid eventually to enter the gas chambers.
children from the orphanage at the far end of the square, the loading of the trains began. Corsacks commenced the march. No, I shall never forget that sight. It was not a walk to the trains, but a silent, organized protest against the murderous Nazi regime.
I wish we could have walked to the cemetery more. That was pretty good.
Of unparalleled deceit, cruelty, and calculated savagery. In this place, a few steps away from here, innumerable victims, men, women, and children, were driven from sealed cattle cars straight to the so-called showers, where, in unspeakable agony, they watched each other as they desperately tried to catch a last breath, and were robbed of the last dignity granted to all humans, the dignity of dying in peace.
It really upset me, and I couldn't help but look around at the people in the camp with me at that moment and just think of them being thrown into those gas chambers because of what culture they were, and it really upset me, and it made me think in such a different way.
Personally, and then with him putting faces to everything and describing little details about things, it was makes it a lot more real and personal. So that's what I got out of it today.
Just walking into the barrack, block number 6, where he was, just thinking, that's where he was for 2 years, and in between those dark and cold walls, and then going into the crematorium, they always say a picture has 1,000 words, but there aren't any words that you could even say looking at a picture, or even reading in a book, but being in there.
That means I was exactly.
I remember learning about him when I was studying.
And I'd like to go to the one again. It's something we kind of mentioned on the phone. We're standing next to a monument that was put up right after the Second World War. I think it was 1946. And it's no accident that it looks like a sewer, because this is an honor again of those who continued the struggle and the battle throughout the sewers of Warsaw. Dr. Hans Frank, a great doctor.
Will become the commemoration day for the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, and hence Yom HaShoah to survivors of the Rwanda genocide to come light a torch.
Assembled here near the ghetto, self-defense. Memorial to salute Jewish.
Minutes later.
first time I went to Auschwitz on the train was with Paula Susswein, who is a Holocaust survivor. As we clicked along the tracks, Paula gave us a description of all of her emotions and all her memories from 50 years ago at that time came back to her, and it was very emotional for all of us.
I read 43, we're here,
And I could tell by looking at what was outside. Did you see all the trees there? There weren't supposed to be any trees.
Take your camera out. Grab the camera. Thank you.
Your mom and daughter.
Hello.
Daughter,
Yeah,
why are you traveling together?
because we wanted to do this together.
When I look at this, I can only see it through an apparition. Not these faces that I see now, but this gate. You see this gate. The people are no longer here.
פולק אלס, צ'כוסלובקיה. פולק בנימין, צ'כוסלובקיה. פיק אירה, צ'כוסלובקיה. אביץ פרידה, צ'כוסלובקיה. אוברלנדר אווה, צ'כוסלובקיה. מאיר אסתר, צ'כוסלובקיה. מאי רות, צ'כוסלובקיה. מרקוביץ' סרל.
On this accursed soil, the soil of Auschwitz-Birkenau, 1/3 of the Jewish nation was annihilated.
In this place of misfortune, malediction, and darkness, a few steps from now, the history of humanity has stumbled into an abyss.
Roman Schindel, Czechoslovakia. Mendelevich.
Dark. Here, as we were passing by almost daily, we would find several individuals who died by having electrocuted themselves actually, but they were slightest excuse was a matter of life and death. You here had beautiful, beautiful girls who were, this was really the SS Bordello. In this second window was a girl from our town. As a matter of fact, she was a married girl. She got married in the ghetto. I remember that. And she was looking at me and crying. Couldn't do a thing about it. I don't know how many more times I will be here. I always look at this window and see her face. We all had diarrhea. Remember, we were eating anything we could find. We had a tremendous responsibility for one another. If we could share, we shared. Dreamt of nothing but to have enough food in their stomach. But can't imagine what hunger can be when you have no source of turning and buying food. This is day after day after day. Slow motion dying. They drowned, became icicles. And those who were reported to receive lashes had to report that you couldn't move them, stretched out, and you could hear at the end of the camp the pain, the shrieks of the people who were getting them. You see this? This was the hanging party, where a little boy, he was so light that when they hung him, he couldn't here. And we all had to stand here again and again and look at it. They used to take one or two of the escapees, shot them, and they exactly like a chicken. They opened their bellies with the intestines out, laid out with a big placard. This will happen to you. This was also the reason why we were wearing the wooden clocks. Here Mengele stood with his white gloves. When you heard about the selections, did you? Here you stand here. You witnesses to be on the grounds, declared, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." This is what they were crying out and asking us, don't forget to say Kaddish for us. Don't forget to say Kaddish for us. It is the mental anguish that very often is not spoken about.
Teraz stanę. Możemy dokończyć.
The whole family. For 3 weeks, they were here. One Sunday morning, we got up, and this entire area, silent. They wiped them out in one night. They took them to Birkenau and they finished them. We were taken in to have our numbers tattooed. I was standing in line with my father, and the fellow inmate, whoever he was, turns around to me and says, "What are you doing here?" Because at that time I was naked, I was a kid. I didn't know what he said. He said, "You're supposed to be with your mother." And my father had in his heel a gold watch, a pocket watch, with a chain. He pulled it out and walked over to the Gestapo, the soldier who was standing there, took his hand, his palm, put in the watch into his palm, closed it, and walked away. At that moment, for bribing an officer, he could have been shot on the spot. But this wasn't the case. I'm sure he thought, he will not be here for too long. And he says to the one who was tattooed, it says, "Weitermachen," keep on going. And this is how he gave me the number. And they were picking out young people. Didn't know what it was. Lo and behold, these people within a year, they were castrated. All of them.
Yeah, look at that one over there with the cross.
Outfits, prisoner outfits, playing here the They brought here the gypsies.
Excellent. Thank you.
The valley itself was a Jewish cemetery before the war, and during the Second World War, as we said before, this became hell on earth. This was Plaszow.
And if she would usher in the Sabbath for us and light our Sabbath meal.
Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Asher Kedishanu Mitzvotav.
It is wonderful. You are contributing very much to lift my spirit. I love you all.
Here, take a picture with mine.
We are at the Black Madonna. Definitely. Been excited. Sarah thinks it might heal her sore throat. Yes.
Yeah.
And now in Czestochowa to see the Black Madonna, and this will be a kind of added dimension to our trip. And then tomorrow, a new adventure, it's something else.
The Polish Church preserved Poland, had the opportunity to be free. They were a free country in their minds and hearts. Now Poland preserved the church. Poland was a torn apart country for so many years. The minute they
Jak nie chodziłam, to nie.
What you're going to see is a museum the like of which I promise you've never seen before. Jewish museums really fall into two categories. Either they're Holocaust museums, and we actually do deal with them. Don't do that for two reasons. Well, three reasons. The first reason, if you're already Jewish, you know about it. If you're not Jewish, it doesn't make any sense. Thirdly, I think it's boring. History? End of the 11th century, USA?
None. Nothing.
Well, the North American Indians may take exception to that. Kashmir the Great, giving the charter for the Jews to live here at the end of the 11th century. That gives you a sense of how long there has been a Jewish presence here in Krakow. Krakow here is down as about 45,000 Jews. By the beginning of the Second World War, there were about 63 to 65,000 Jews here in Krakow. Today, depending who's doing the counting, there's a couple of hundred.
The murder of the Jewish population have lived a little bit longer. They found their end in Majdanek and in the murders that took place in the ghetto on the right-hand side. In the morning, we marched under strong arm to Madani. We trudged through the mud, stumbling and falling. That's a new one that was built later on towards the end of our walk. There was a Satan who was here, who was the main guard. He liked little boys. Everyone knew what was going to happen to him when he came to that barracks, and it happened one night. He was raped. Immediately after rape, he was thrown back into his bunk. He got in there, realizing he had lost his hat. Knowing that in 2 hours roll call at 5 a.m. was going to be out. It's a dilemma. What would you do without a hat? You go to roll call, and you know that it was not going to be. He didn't want to see the other person. He stood in the front row. He didn't want to see who wasn't going to live. You live with that. A hat. Simple item. Hat.
Wasn't working here, and it was best for life to come back here to Austria. She finally did. Years ago, she was doing a presentation, and in the end, said, "For you to Texas, architect, my God, this is the only picture."
Bullet will go directly into your head, or you can find a solution. When he got to roll call, he knew that another person. I think it was Clarence Darrow who said something about the effectiveness program that found its roots not only.
I'm not going to tell you the name, but
Which they fed us. Or yellow speak.
and then we saw Ann Weiss.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
to be a renewal. We have to make out of our experiences here something positive. Those of you that know the Hebrew prayer. And he has a gift for you. National Vice Chairman, as far as I'm concerned, the chairman of March of the Living.
The reason why we bring these populations, the multiplier effect. We expect you to help create ripples throughout the university that you're in, the community that you're in, and other universities.
And you were survivors. The trip has been painful at times, exhilarating at times, and very moving.
Just tell you, it's very meaningful as a Jewish person, but also as a teacher of special education. I was struck by the fact that the first people that Hitler killed were the disabled children that I have spent my career teaching.
I feel so honored, and I feel it's a path that I'm meant to take at this point, and I will continue my studies and see where they lead me.
This trip has just made me understand what we are capable of as human beings. Compassion, but also the power of our hatred, and I just hope that will never be seen again.
I came on this trip with my mom, and it's something that has changed my life, and it's so different from reading in the books and what you hear, and it truly is just so incredible when you are actually standing somewhere where history has happened. And being with Murray, he has just really made it such an incredible trip, I know, for all of us. And that's it.
But I know that it has brought out whatever there was still resting within me to devote the balance of my life to continued community service, to continued support for Israel, and continued fighting the deniers.
Have this remarkable ability to bring people together. Love you so much, and thank you for giving us.
We started out as a team, we continue as a team, and I'm truly so proud of all of you. And I look at that butterfly. Thank you. It is beautiful. You will see it tomorrow on my suit.
This trip for me was unbelievable. I can't even put it into words. It has to be taught, and it has to be said over and over and over and over again.
The trip has meant for me, it's made me want to get rid of any hatred and any indifference and to act out in love instead.
My mom is German, so I got into the Holocaust more or less the back way. My dad was visiting over there and got my grandmother talking on the subject of World War II. Out comes the Nazi propaganda, and then my dad questions her. And she flat out denied the Holocaust. You know, it was something my dad then set out to more or less prove to her that it actually existed. Passed down to me, and just feel that I need to prove to my grandmother that it actually happened.
I experienced anti-Semitic feelings towards me, so since then I've pretty much buried my heritage of being Jewish, so I could try and fit in and not have to go through those things. But seeing everyone here that's not Jewish, that really wants to learn about what's happened to our people, it means so much to me, and I just want to thank all of you guys for caring about what happened.
You can never put two and two together until you actually set foot there, and that's what I had to do coming on this trip. I had to see it with my own two eyes and actually understand why it's a life-changing experience.
To think that someone would want uniformity in this world is ridiculous, and I really appreciate being out here and seeing everybody come together and united for a sense of hope. So.
And I'm going to go home and kiss my father, go to the gravesite of my mother, and then hug my children and my grandchildren, and I will be back with my grandchildren.
I'm determined to figure out ways of introducing Holocaust education into all of my courses.
And I just can't tell you what it meant to see those flags of Israel and the triumph that the Jews have now for their survival. And I think that's where God was in the Holocaust.
But I think it was that confrontation of what is beyond the moral realm. How do you deal with this? I will be spending the rest of my life just processing the stuff that's happened on this trip and doing much, much more. I will continue to teach about the Holocaust. I thank you all for your wisdom and your generosity, your unbelievable generosity in sharing it all with us.
I've had the opportunity to be with other groups, and I want you to know that I sincerely think that this is one of the finest groups of people I've ever been with.
Before you talk about the Holocaust, let's give a look what the shtetl was. Let's give a look what the Jewish culture was. Let's first learn whom they murdered. I am hopeful. Within the ashes of our tragedy, we see the sparks of hope.
We're told that once a pagan came to the rabbis and said, you know, I don't have much time, he said. Could you teach me what this Jewish religion is, you know, while I stand on one foot? And then they came to Hillel, and Hillel said, aha, I can do it. He said, really? He said, sure. Just this. What is hateful to yourself, do not do to your neighbor. Right. That is the essence of Judaism. The rest is commentary. You folks, you've learned the essence. Now you can go out and learn the commentary. And so I conclude, may the Lord bless your coming in and going out from this time on and forevermore. God bless you all. Good night.
He wants to be a rabbi.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. My name is Konrad. My name is Patrick. My name is Maciej. Bye.
Bye.
Lay down on the ground.
Marie, would you please stand? By the authority vested in me, I now bestow upon you a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology. With best wishes.
Wow. Thank you.
This is the first time since I was 13 that I've worn a Jewish star. And I don't just wear this for my grandmother anymore, I wear this for you. And I wear it for all the survivors. And sorry. And I want you to know that all of us will carry on your story.
Couldn't be a nicer one. Oh my God. I am so grateful.
It wasn't thick enough.
No, that's nice.
That's great.
For someone to risk his life, as you did, for my faith in mankind, and I am sure it has done the same for everyone here. What you did was not only save how many Jews altogether?
Altogether 26.
Yeah, there was more to this story. 26. He saved 4 after he was already in Auschwitz.
Prokreacja.
Ponad 70 osób.
Over 70 people. ADL has counted, you know.
But we put something together for you. We're waiting to we don't